Good evening. This week the Church of England commemorates William Wilberforce, a social reformer from the 19th century. He was born in Hull in 1759 and converted to an evangelical piety within the Church of England, but he decided to serve the faith in Parliament instead of being ordained. He helped found the Bible Society and was part of the Clapham sect. But perhaps he is best remembered for the work that he did over many years to bring about initially the slave trade and ultimately the total abolition of slavery. This is an excerpt from a speech that he delivered to the House of Commons in 1789. I mean not to accuse anyone, but to take the shame upon myself, in common indeed with the whole Parliament of Britain, for having suffered this horrid trade of slavery to be carried on under their authority. We are all guilty. We ought to all plead guilty, and not to exculpate ourselves by throwing the blame on others. In the facts that I have laid before you, I trust that I have proved that upon every ground total abolition ought to take place. I have urged many things which are not my own leading motives for proposing it, since I have wished to show every description of gentlemen, and particularly the West India planters, who deserve every attention, that the abolition is politic upon their own principles. Policy, however, sir, is not my principle, and I am not ashamed to say it. There is a principle above everything that is politic, and when I reflect on the command which says, "Thou shalt do no murder," believing its authority to be divine, how can I dare to set up any reasonings of my own against it? Sir, the nature and all the circumstances of this trade are now laid open to us. We can no longer plead ignorance. We cannot evade it. We may spurn it. We may kick it out of the way. But we cannot turn aside so as to avoid seeing it. For it is brought now so directly before our eyes that this House must decide, and must justify to all the world, and to its own conscience, the rectitude of all the grounds of its decision. Let not Parliament be the only body that is insensible to the principles of natural justice. Let us make reparation to Africa as far as we can, by establishing trade upon true commercial principles, and we shall soon find the rectitude of our conduct rewarded by the benefits of a regular and growing commerce. And so to evening prayer, which this evening follows the order of the Northumbrian community. My soul waits for the Lord, more than those who watch for the morning, more than those who watch for the morning. Out of the depths I have cried to you, O Lord, hear my voice. With my whole heart I want to praise you. O Lord, hear my voice. If you, Lord, should mark iniquities, who could stand? I will wait for the Lord, my soul waits, and in his word do I hope. Lord, you have always given bread for the coming day, and though I am poor, today I believe. Lord, you have always given strength for the coming day, and though I am weak, today I believe. Lord, you have always given peace for the coming day, and though anxious of heart, today I believe. Lord, you have always kept me safe in trials, and now, tried as I am, today I believe. Lord, you have always marked the road for the coming day, and though it may be hidden, today I believe. Lord, you have always lightened this darkness of mine, and though the night is here, today I believe. Lord, you have always spoken when time was ripe, And though you be silent now, today I believe. Psalm 15. Lord, who may lodge in your tent? Who may dwell on your holy mountain? One of blameless life, who does what is right and speaks the truth from his heart, who has no malice on his tongue and who never wrongs his fellow, who tells no tales against his neighbour, who shows his scorn for those the Lord rejects, but honours those who fear the Lord, who holds to his oath, even to his own hurt, who does not put his money out to usury, and never accepts a bribe against the innocent. He who behaves in this way will remain unshaken. The reading is from Job 31. If I ever rejected the plea of my slave or slave girl when they brought a complaint against me, what shall I do if God appears? What shall I answer if he intervenes? Did not he who made me in the belly make them? Did not the same God create us in the womb? If I have withheld from the poor what they needed, or made the widow's eye grow dim with tears, if I have eaten my portion of food by myself, and the fatherless child has not shared it with me, the boy who said, "From my youth he brought me up," or the girl who claimed that from her birth I guided her, if I have seen anyone perish for lack of clothing, or a poor man with nothing to cover himself, if his body had no cause to bless me, because he was not kept warm with a fleece from my flock, if I have raised my hand against the innocent, knowing that those who would side with me were in court, then may my shoulder blade be torn from my shoulder, my arm wrenched out of its socket. But the fear of God was heavy upon me. Because of his majesty, I could do none of these things. If I have put my faith in gold, and my trust in the gold of Nubia, if I have rejoiced in my great wealth, and in the increase of riches in my possession, if ever I looked on the sun in splendour, or the moon moving in her glory, and was led astray in my secret heart, and kissed my hand in homage, this would have been an offence before the law, for I should have been unfaithful to God on high. If my land has cried out in reproach at me, and its furrows have joined in weeping, if I have eaten its produce without payment, and left my creditors to languish, may thistles spring up instead of wheat, and noxious weeds instead of barley. Have I rejoiced at the ruin of anyone who hated me, or been filled with glee when misfortune overtook him, even though I did not allow my tongue to sin by laying his life under a curse? The men of my household have indeed said, "Who has eaten of his food and not been satisfied?" No stranger has had to spend the night in the street, for I have kept open house for the traveller. Have I ever concealed my misdeeds as others do, keeping my guilt hidden within my breast, because I feared the gossip of the town, or dreaded the scorn of my fellow citizens? Let me but call a witness in my defence. Let the Almighty state his case against me. If my accuser had written out his indictment, I should not keep silence and remain indoors. No, I would flaunt it on my shoulder and wear it like a crown on my head. I should plead the whole record of my life and present that in court as my defence. And here ends the words of Job. Down the wide open road the pilgrim travels on, his face towards the sun. Beyond the open road he travels on, and the waves steal the footprints of the summer from the sand. Beneath the silver moon, the north wind blows the fading leaves again. In the shadow of your wings I will sing your praises, O Lord. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the refuge of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? One thing I ask of the Lord, one thing I seek, to dwell in the presence of my God, to gaze on your holy place. I believe I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. O wait for the Lord, have courage and wait. Wait for the Lord. In the shadow of your wings, I will sing your praises, O Lord. And so we give thanks for the life of William Wilberforce and all that he did to bring about social change in our land and our world. We give thanks for the work that he did to bring about the abolition of the slave trade. And yet, as we give thanks for his life and his Christian example to many, we are mindful of so many injustices that still exist in our world, not least those in this country whose lives are blighted in modern forms of slavery. We pray for that day when freedom for all people will be a reality, when justice for all people will be a reality. Give us, O God, the courage of Wilberforce to use what influence we have to speak out against injustices in our day and to work for your glory and the good of all. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. See that ye be at peace among yourselves, my children, and love one another. Follow the example of good men of old, and God will comfort you and help you, both in this world and in the world which is to come. Amen.